Many of you might think owning a home is a simple task, but the reality is that single home very well could drive the growth of Black America. Here's what I mean by that. You talk about a home in a neighborhood. Home ownership drives a neighborhood. If you're able to own a home, you're likely going to have lower crime in your neighborhood. If folks who are owning a home, that will also change schools, because property taxes in schools are based upon folks who actually own homes, not folks who rent. Not only that, it has an impact also on what happens if you're trying to actually start a business. There are 1.9 million Black-owned businesses in America. Black women own 1.1 million of those businesses. This is what we recently saw. The Wall Street Journal did a report on March 15th saying that in 2013, $23.09 billion in loans were handed out to small businesses. How many did Black folks get? They actually got 385 million, or 1.7%. What was the primary reason? Because many of them use their home as collateral, and as a result of the home foreclosure crisis over the last 6 years, if they refinanced or lost their home, they no longer had collateral. So you might simply think this one house is really just no big deal, but the reality is it could very well determine the future of Black America. Joining me right now to talk about the crisis of home ownership in this country, they are from the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. We have President Danielle Spivey and also Chairwoman Andrea Hilliard Cooksey. Certainly glad to have you right here on the show. This is, my point is, a lot of times we've talked about this here, housing in America, and folks really don't understand that we've lost 53% of Black wealth. If you're talking about sending your kids to school and you want to be able to take out a second mortgage, you no longer own a home, you can't do it.
Correct.
No.
Correct.
Go ahead.
So Nareb has started a program called the State of Housing in Black America. And what we're doing is going around the country to educate our community as well as real estate professionals on how to help build our wealth within our communities.
Now, this was the first time you did the report?
The first report came out in 2013 at the Congressional Black Caucus. And now the report talked about the issues that we face. And the issues were 1 out of every 5 homeowners lost their home to foreclosure during the foreclosure crisis. And as you said, we lost about 53% of our wealth during that time period. But it also revealed that homeownership rate fell from 49% to 43%. And now what we've started is the State of Housing in Black America Solutions. And we're going around educating our communities and our real estate professionals on how to just do better and be better stewards with our money.
I mean, this is, look, I've covered housing for years, and when we think about the growth of America, that has also been driven by home ownership. Yeah. Most Americans actually get their wealth through owning a home. Yeah. So when we are in a situation where we go from owning homes to now renting homes, that also impacts gentrification, because the individuals who actually own in an area, they get to actually make decisions, as opposed to when you're a renter, you have no choices. Yeah. What even surprised you in this report where you said, whoa, I'm in the business, and realized that this was a situation?
Well, it just became so apparent. We didn't get the money to cause the crash, but we are being blamed, or regular homeowners are taking the burden that they have to bring us out of this. The same group that created the crash are the same group within our communities now cashing in on the crash. They are trying to talk all of our community to be renters. Well, you messed up, so now you have to be a renter. No, values are low, interest rates are low. This is the time to buy.
And somebody who's actually watching, they probably would say, y'all have lost your mind that I should be buying. But to your point, when you do look at the interest rates, I mean, the reality is, although they've gone up a little bit, but they still are at historic lows. Yes. And when you're in a depressed economy, if a house, 6 years ago I could have bought for $180,000,
yes,
I now can get for $120,000. That's a much better deal.
That's a much better deal, and that starts to build your wealth. We're so concerned now about the youth, the young college graduates who are graduating with no intention of becoming a homeowner. I'm challenging them that having a Land Rover and a landlord, they're in violation. They're just in violation. But they need to know that if you capture your wealth, you can own many Land Rovers and let the residual from the income of your properties pay for it.
But then also, when it comes to the idea of home ownership, I mean, look, my parents retired. They were living in Houston, so they wanted to find a small apartment because of their income. And I said, well, I got a house in Dallas. And I mean, I was living here in D.C. At the time in Chicago, living in D.C., I said, y'all can live in the house. So they moved. My sister also lives there. And so owning that home allows for me to be able to say, all right, that now impacts them financially because they have a stable place, 4-bedroom, 2,500 square foot house that another family member could live in as well. And so it changes even our living conditions and our family arrangements when we own.
Yes.
It's building generational wealth. And part of that is a lot of us use our home equity, not just to send our kids to college, but also to buy businesses.
Yeah.
Now, if you can imagine, if you don't have that equity in your home to send your kids to college, so now that kid either is not going to go to college or he's going to get a student loan. And when he walk across the stage, he's going to walk across with a diploma in one hand and a student loan payment in the other hand.
And of course, student loan debt is now $1.3 trillion.
Wow.
But the other thing is, when it comes to the home ownership, I'll get that particular student, if you also own, that student now can now start their professional life not having to worry about that landlord, and again allows them, so they say, if I got student loan but we own a home, I can live in a home that's paid for, just pay the bills and everything, and not have to worry about the interest, the mortgage, and all the stuff along those lines.
And being abruptly displaced. Because when you're a renter, you have no say-so.
Yeah, once that
30-day notice, 30-day notice, you'll have to go.
Well, it's so funny. I was talking to with my financial advisor when I moved to Chicago. She said, are you selling your house? I said, no. I said, one, I talk way too much trash on TV to be potentially homeless. I said, so if anything happens, I got a house to go back to regardless of what happens anywhere else.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, look, first of all, where can people go check out the report? Because they really should read this report. Where can they go?
www.nareb.com.
Nareb.com.
Nareb.com.
Okay, well, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much, and we'll keep driving this issue because, again, we can't afford to not be able to create wealth.
Absolutely.
And home ownership is possible.
Oh, yes, it is. Absolutely.
It's not hard. It's possible.
And we'll keep pushing it. I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
All right.
Hey, folks, coming.